Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Netflix limited series Adolescence, which is a psychological crime drama created by Jack Thorne and Stephen Graham, who also stars in this 4 episode run as well as co-writes all 4 episodes of this show. It centers on a 13-year-old schoolboy named Jamie who is arrested for murder of a girl in his school. This is a show. I'm a little late to the party. This show dropped on Netflix. I would say early March, and I'm just now getting around to it, trying to catch up on a lot of things lately. If you notice, I'm putting out a lot of content, but I caught up on this show. I was super excited to watch it because I'm a Stephen Graham fan. I think he is a very underrated actor. You know, he's one of those just unsung heroes when it comes to film because he pops up in these movies and he's more of a character actor. Nobody you would picture as a lead, but he pops up and does the supporting roles in films and always does a solid job. Um, Going all the way back to Snatch, one of my favorite Guy Ritchie films. He was in that. He was in Gangs of New York. He popped up in the Venom films. God bless him for that. But he always pops up in these films, and he does an excellent job. And this content, what this show is based upon, is something that is poignant, something that you don't see talked about a lot and explored in this manner. And I was super excited to watch it for that reason. This show, like I said, is 4 episodes. In all 4 episodes, one of the gimmicks, if you will, or the attractions to this show that makes it unique, it is filmed in one continuous take. You know, it's like it's no cuts, there's no edits. That's the way it's filmed. Obviously, it was. Obviously, they had to do cuts, but it was shot in such a way it seemed like it was in real time, and all 4 episodes are in that style. Very unique, very cool. That's what another, well, not the reason, but one of the reasons that drew me to watching this show. This show is the hardest show I have to review, and it's not for any moral reasons or because it was just that bad or anything like that. It's the complete opposite. It is so perfect that I don't know how to talk about it. I can glorify all of the acting, the writing, the directing, the cinematography, the tone, all of that. But I mean, it gets boring if it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Because I had to watch all 4 episodes twice. I had to watch this series twice because I watched it the first time, and honestly, I wasn't going to review it. I was just watching it as a fan. I just wanted to see the show. And when I stepped away from it the first time, I was like, man, I can't think of a flaw in this show. I can't think of one bad thing that I witnessed, and I thought it was a fluke. I thought maybe it didn't register, or I didn't notice something bad, or I missed this. So I watched it again. you know, I watched it again, and yeah, it was confirmed. No, I can't find one bad thing about this show. Let's just break it down from what I loved to what I really liked. That's what I settled on in my brain, because it's nothing that I hated, nothing that I feel that they could have left out. Everything was great. So I had to trick my mind into saying, well, I love this, but I just like this a lot. So I'm gonna break it down like that. Let's start with what I absolutely loved. I loved the cinematography. I loved the direction. Pulling off a one take episode. Every episode was one take. Because you bounce around in time. It isn't like it's 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like 4 continuous hours. It's 1 hour. We start off day one. Episode two is I think 3 days later. Episode three was I think 3 months later or something to that effect. And to pull off one continuous take every episode, that is tough. That is hard. If you don't know anything about filmmaking, that is the most difficult thing on planet Earth because everything has to go right. Actors have to hit their marks, have to know their lines, have to be in the right spot, because it's one single camera. And it has to flow. And it's not like it's a lockdown camera. The camera, everything is moving, everything is fluid. People are walking through sets, walking through the house, going upstairs, coming back downstairs, going you're in the police station, you're in a car, they're driving to the store, and it never cuts. They start at the house, get in the car, drive to the store, they go into the store, they do shopping, there's dialogue there, they exit the store, get back in the car, they go back. I was just blown away by that alone. That alone is like, my God, this is excellent filmmaking. This is what you watch if you're inspiring to be a filmmaker, if you have hopes of making movies or short films or whatever it may be. Sit down and watch Adolescence for this, just for that, and you will get I mean, a film school, maybe 3 years worth of film school by watching this season of Adolescence. It is phenomenal that they pulled it off in the edits. Their edits. They had to make cuts. They had to be mistakes. Just think about it. If you make a mistake, if an actor makes a mistake or something, they probably have to start all over from the beginning and go through it again. It's got to be torture to make this show, but it was so seamless. It looked so seamless. I am so impressed by the direction and the cinematography of this show. The other part of this show that I absolutely loved was the writing. The writing was spot on, perfect. This felt real. You know what I'm saying? It felt like a documentary in some fashion. It felt like this was an actual event, that a camera was following this family around, following this boy around who's accused of this crime, and uh the effects of it all is it just felt real. It felt real, and at moments it felt too real. you know it was that brutal of a show. What makes it so interesting is the fact that uh, this show is centered around this brutal crime, this murder of this girl, who was stabbed 7 times, but there's no violence in this show. There's nothing uh you know gratuitous about it. That some movies or TV shows feel that they need to show you every stab wound, all the blood, every ounce of blood that pours out of a person, or so on and so forth, to bring forth the message that this is brutal. They didn't do it here. You felt it, and you didn't even see the girl, you didn't see the dead body, you didn't see none of that. This show picks up after the crime was already committed. And so the actors and the writing had to really drive home the point of how brutal that crime was, and they did it flawlessly. I felt it. They allowed your imagination to run wild, and that's exactly what happened in this show, for better or for worse. The tone was just spot on, perfect. There was nothing bubbly about this. There's nothing good about, because we're centered on this crime. And I am so happy that this wasn't a murder mystery. Because at first I'm thinking like, okay, we're gonna have to go through this entire season to find out what all took place. No, you pretty much know, without getting any spoilers. You know the truth early on, but it's not about solving the crime. The crime was solved. You just have to figure out why this happened, and you know uh see the effects of what happened, and how many people it affected. And it wasn't just this family that was affected. Everybody, everybody in this community was affected by this, and man, it's just heartbreaking, and it's so heartbreaking. But my downright favorite thing about this show, I mean, hands down, just the greatest thing you ever want to see is the performances. The performances in this show. If this show does not receive at least 5 Emmy nominations for acting, or whatever else, whatever other award show that recognizes television for the acting, it's a crime. It's armed robbery, straight up. I'm telling you now, Stephen Graham, man, that was no shock to me that this dude can act his behind off. But my God, he put so much passion into this role. He plays the father of the young boy that is accused of this crime, and my God, you felt the weight of the world on him. You felt the disappointment in him. You felt the love he has for his son. All of it, and you can see him just breaking minute by minute. You see him just crumbling. Trying to hold it together, trying to be the father, the head of the house, trying to be that that lion, the leader of the pride. But it's just the crown was heavy, and you got to see all of that in Stephen Graham, man. My God, what a performance here. But not to be outdone, this young man who plays his son, who plays Jamie, I think his name is Owen Cooper. Who, I think this was the first thing he ever starred in, or at least as far as I know. But be on the lookout for him. Man, what a performance. This young kid, he's gonna be something. He got it. Whatever it is, he has it. What a job this young man did in this role. I mean, even though you know what's happening, you know what took place, but through his performance, he was able to blur the lines between, is he guilty or is he innocent, and just through his performance. But you know better. you know as the viewer, you know better, but he does an amazing job. And it wasn't from him being evil. He wasn't playing this just psycho kid who snapped or nothing like that. No, that wasn't it. He played a 13-year-old boy. And I have a good knowledge of 13-year-old boys, because many, many, many years ago, I was a 13-year-old boy. So he nailed that part of it. And man, it was a heartbreaking performance. Heartbreaking, real, just, I am so impressed by that young man. All the other supporting actors who popped up throughout this show did an excellent job as well. Like I said, this was not an easy task. This was like a play. A stage play. You don't have cut. You don't have, okay, set up for the next scene, let's try that again. You don't have a second take and all this here. Once you're on the stage, you're on the stage. You have to perform. And this was like a stage play, just in film form, and with more to do, more room to roam. It's as opposed of a actual theater stage. So yeah, they had some heavy lifting to do, and I think they did an excellent job, because like I said, even with stage plays, there's only at most 6-7 performers on the stage at the same time, unless there's a musical number and you have no dancers and whatnot in the background. But here you had a lot of moving pieces. You know that at one point there was in a police station. You have a lot of stuff going on in the background, and they was at a school in one of the episodes, and you got a lot of kids running around. I mean, it was a school, and so it was a whole bunch of kids running around, and you have these actors performing, and once again, one take, and you going through it all. It's just so much going on, and they pulled it off seamlessly. That's why it felt so real. And to end this review, it's so what makes this so heartbreaking is if you're a parent, this is the hardest show to watch. You know, especially if you're a parent of a young kid around the age of, a 13 preteen or whatever. This is hard. This is a tough pill to swallow. And it doesn't matter if you have a boy or a girl, you will feel it, because as a parent, you try to do, if you're a good parent, if you try to do right, you try to train your kids right, teach them right, show them right. And sometimes, no matter how good of a parent you are, mother or father, sometimes your kids are going to do stupid stuff. And you're faced with that question: what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Did I fail them? So on and so forth. And this show addressed all that. And it's hard, man. I don't, especially kids. Kids don't realize it. They don't realize it until they get kids themselves. And I know for a fact, for me, that's how I felt. Man, I thought my parents were just psycho when I was growing up. I just thought my mom was the meanest person on God green earth. But as I got older and had kids of my own, I know she wasn't crazy. If anything, I was driving her crazy. So I understand why sometimes she took the measures that she did, and I had to do the same thing. And I hear my kids now that they're older, I hear them now talk about how crazy me and my wife was when they were growing up, and they don't get it. Eventually they will get it. Hopefully, many moons from now, when they have children of their own, and it'll finally click. Like, oh, I get it now. So, yeah, this show really shows the struggle of a parent, and especially a parent of a child who is accused of doing something so heinous. And man, it was just a heartbreaking performance by Stephen Graham. Heartbreaking, but excellent. And everybody else just knocked it out of the park. And I'm talking about from the actors to crafts, catering service. Everybody did an excellent job on this show. Adolescence, which is currently on Netflix, gets the prestigious grade of an A+. Perfect show. I mean, perfect show. See why this was the number one show on Netflix for a number of weeks after it dropped. I get it. I feel like a fool for waiting so long. It was a great show. Excellent show. I would love to know, what did you think of Adolescence? Did you enjoy it? Did it really tug on your heartstrings? Because it tugged on mine, almost tugged it out of my chest. I would love to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Netflix new psychological crime drama, Adolescence. Want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.